I started at Rehoboth at the age of 8, so I got good teaching and training. And I'm nosy, so I went to school to be a social worker. And I did 10 years. I worked in the prison system, so I saw them coming and going. I work in child welfare now. I started there and I went back and I asked God, why? And as I see our youth and as I see the people coming and going, the only thing I say to, when I see them and I'm by myself is God have mercy, because that's a soul. That's number one. Number two, that's somebody's child. And number three, half of them have children already, and if they're not turned around, they're only leading another generation.
That's right. Amen.
And so when I look at these patterns, first thing I had to do, we raised 2 young men, and I can say I don't know a prison system, I don't know a penal system for them. They listened. And I thank God that they're still in church, and I still try to give that motherly instinct to them. And the thing that I look at and I see, it's a whole lot of things that happen. And when Hillary Clinton said that it takes a village to raise a child, it really does. And I also teach at Catonsville Community College. And I tell my students, I say, what will keep you from not being where someone else is? What is your system that if you needed $1,000 right now, do you know anybody that you can get it from? Or do you have it? Which means if they don't have it and they have somebody, then they got a good system. But if they don't have it and they have to depend on someone else, then they don't have a good system. So what do you have in place when you start falling? Do you have that good friend? Because we all have problems. Do I have that good friend that I can just say to them, today I feel like killing somebody? And I have plenty of sisters and I have plenty of friends. And I'll call when I'm saying, today is not the day and blah, blah, blah. And then I can get that word. But what happens to that person that don't have that? So that person that don't have that will turn to someone else that may not give them that good counsel.
That's right.
So what happens with that, then I'm hooked because you told me something and it may have worked the first time, but it didn't work the second time nor the third. So then when I start preaching to them about the word, then they get slack in knowing who God is or want to know who God is because the streets now have them. And so when I teach my men, and when I was in the prison system, they said to me, well, you should have been here. I said, I wasn't here because I was going to school and I'm here now. But they doing life. They doing life because someone didn't put their arms around them and tell them that this is not the right way. And we are human beings. And I was talking to a person yesterday and I said, we are human beings first. And then we're given titles. And we look at titles in opposed of who they are. And because I'm Pastor Allen's whatever, I'm living under what Pastor Allen did. I gotta be my own individual. I have to teach these children that when they go out, they can be able to live on their own when these type of things happen and not be influenced. Because if we look at what's going on in our children, they have gifts. And we gotta nurture what we see in them. I knew at the age of 2 that I was going to have a drummer. And I knew at the age of 1 that my son was going to sing. So what you see in these children is where you got to nurture them. They show us their signs and they show us their gift. But if I turn to deaf ear on what I see that's positive in them, then they're going to turn to somebody else and that's going to nurture in them. Our fathers, they need their fathers. Even if you're not with that individual, make sure that that man can nurture that woman and that boy. At the age of 6, and I love good old Erickson, my philosophers and my theorists, they say that a little girl falls in love with her daddy first. That's right. So if that daddy is not there to give her that nurture and to show her the right way, she's going to find somebody, whether he's a bum, hook, crook, or whatever, that's going to say, I love you. All he got to do is give her $1 or something that you can't give her, and then they're going to be instilled in them, and you can't tell them anything. So, and that's the same thing, and that's the same thing with our men loving their mothers. And if they're not here, then you're going to fall to somebody else. That's right.